The message came from a species the crew had never heard of before. They called themselves the Helians, and they were desperate. Human vessel Taguki. The translator converted their language into Korean. We know you can hear this. Please help us. The Vraxis are attacking our colony ship. We have families aboard, children, please. Dan looked at his crew on the bridge. They were thin now, rationing food to make their supplies last. Dark circles shadowed their eyes from weeks of constant fighting. The ship groaned around them, held together by Bora's skill and desperation. It's a trap, Juan said immediately. The Vraxis know we respond to distress calls. They're using civilians as bait. Probably, Dehan agreed. He pulled up the coordinates. The colony ship was 2 hours away at maximum echo drive speed. Mireille, what would we be facing? The young woman checked her sensors. Reading 30 Vraxis warships in the area. They're surrounding the colony ship but not firing yet. They're waiting for something. Waiting for us, Bora said. 30 ships, Captain. We've never faced more than 12 at once. Dehan stared at the screen showing the Helian colony ship. Somewhere on that vessel were families who had done nothing wrong except exist in the path of the Vraxis Empire, just like the human colonies that had been destroyed 200 years ago. We're going, he said quietly. Captain, Juan started. I said we're going. Dehan's voice was hard as steel. The Vraxis destroyed our colonies, killed our people, used them as slaves or worse. If we ignore this, if we let them do to the Helians what they did to us, then what's the point? We become just another warship killing for revenge. I won't let us become that. Mireille stood up from her console. I'm with the captain. Those are families out there, kids who didn't ask for this war. Bora nodded slowly. My grandchildren were kids once. Maybe someone tried to save them. Maybe not. Either way we go. Even Juan finally nodded. Then we better make it count. If we're flying into a trap, let's spring it properly. 2 hours later, the Taguki dropped out of Echo Drive directly between the Helian colony ship and the Vraxis fleet. The sudden appearance caused chaos in the alien formation. This is Captain Dehan Kim of the KSNS Taguki, he broadcast on all frequencies. The colony ship is under our protection. Any ship that fires on it answers to us. A response came immediately. The voice was smooth and intelligent. Captain Kim, I am Grand Admiral Thasix. I have been hunting you for 6 weeks. Thank you for making this easy. 30 ships against 1, Dehan replied. You call that easy? I call it necessary. Thasix sounded almost respectful. You have destroyed 17 of my ships, crippled dozens more, and thrown our entire frontier into chaos. You are one ship, but you fight like a fleet. I will not underestimate you again. Let the colony ship go, Dehan said. This fight is between us. No, Thasix's voice hardened. You care about civilians. That is your weakness. Surrender now and I will let the Helians live. Refuse and I will destroy them in front of you before I kill you too. Dehan looked at his crew. Mireille's hands were already on the weapons controls. Bora had routed every spare bit of power to shields and guns. Juan was plotting attack vectors on his console. They all nodded. Mugungwa, Dehan said calmly. Broadcast the following message to every ship in this system. Every frequency. Make sure everyone hears it. He opened the channel and spoke clearly. This message is for the Vraxis Empire and anyone else listening. You destroyed our colonies, killed our families, erased our people from history. You thought we were weak. You thought we would die quietly. You were wrong. He paused, letting the words sink in. We are the KSNS Taguki. We are the last warship of humanity. We have no home, no fleet, no hope of reinforcements, but we have something you will never understand. We fight not for territory or power. We fight for the memory of everyone we lost. We fight because even extinct humanity will not be forgotten. Admiral Thasix, you want to know our weakness? It's not caring about civilians. Our weakness is that we care so much we will die to protect them. But that's also our strength. We will never surrender. We will never run. And if you want this colony ship, you'll have to go through us first. Silence filled the channel. Then Thasix spoke, and his voice held a strange note of respect. So be it, Captain Kim. Let history record that I gave you a chance. All ships, attack formation. Destroy the human vessel. 30 Vraxis warships opened fire at once. The Taguki's shields flared bright as energy weapons hammered against them. Alarms screamed through the ship. Bora routed power frantically, keeping the shields from collapsing. Return fire, Dehan ordered. Mireille's hands moved like lightning across her console. The main cannon spoke and a Vraxis ship exploded. Secondary weapons tracked targets with inhuman precision, and 2 more aliens died in fire. But there were too many. Plasma bolts punched through weakened shields. The ship shook as explosions ripped through hull sections. Juan reported casualties as systems failed across the Teguki. "Captain, I need to tell you something." A new voice came through the comm system. Young, uncertain. "This is Cumin CO, communications officer. I've been working on hacking Vraxis systems." "Now is not the time, CO," Dehan said as another impact rocked the ship. "Please, Captain. I can access their tactical network. I can see their command codes. If you give me 2 minutes, I can make their ships think friendly vessels are enemies." "They'll start shooting each other." Dehan made a split-second decision. "Do it. Everyone else, keep us alive for 2 minutes. Whatever it takes." Those 2 minutes felt like hours. The Teguki twisted and turned, using every trick the crew knew. Bora rerouted power so fast her console smoked. Mirai fired until the weapons overheated, then fired anyway. Juan manually sealed hull breaches while emergency alarms screamed. "Done," Cumin shouted. "Activating now!" Confusion erupted through the Vraxis fleet. Their targeting system suddenly marked half their own ships as hostile. Disciplined formations broke apart as captains tried to figure out what was happening. Then, inevitably, someone fired on a friendly vessel. That someone fired back. Within seconds, the Vraxis fleet was tearing itself apart. Ships that had been hunting the Teguki now fought each other in desperate confusion. Explosions lit up space as the aliens destroyed their own vessels. "Cease fire," Dehan ordered quietly. "Let them finish the job for us." When the chaos ended, only 12 Vraxis ships remained. They were damaged and scattered, their formation completely broken. Grand Admiral Thasix's voice came through, filled with cold fury. "Clever, Captain Kim. You fight like no species I have ever encountered. But this changes nothing. More fleets will come. Bigger ones. Eventually we will crush you." "Maybe," Dehan replied. "But not today. And every day you fail to kill us is another day the galaxy sees that the mighty Vraxis Empire can't handle one human ship. How long before your own people start questioning your power?" Silence. Then the remaining Vraxis ships retreated, jumping away through their gates. The Helian colony ship sent a message, their voice filled with awe and gratitude. "Teguki, thank you. We will never forget what you did today. If humanity ever needs friends, the Helian people will remember." "Get your people to safety," Dehan replied, "and spread the word. Tell everyone what happened here. Tell them humanity is not extinct. Not yet." As the colony ship jumped to safety, Dehan looked around his bridge. Bora was slumped over her console, exhausted. Mirai was pale and shaking. Juan had burn marks on his uniform from sealing hull breaches. The young communications officer, Cumin, appeared on screen looking terrified but proud. "Status report?" Dehan asked. "We're alive," Bora said simply. "Barely. Power at 2%. Shields gone. Weapons overheated. We can't survive another fight like that." "Then we make sure the next fight is on our terms," Dehan said. He looked at each of his crew, these few survivors who had lost everything but kept fighting anyway. "The galaxy is watching us now. Let's give them something worth watching." The battle lasted 17 minutes. When it ended, 7 Vraxis ships were destroyed and 5 were running away as fast as their engines could carry them. On the bridge of the Teguki, Mirai slumped in her chair, breathing hard. Her hands shook from adrenaline. "They're retreating, Captain. Should I pursue?" "No," Dehan said. He watched the fleeing ships on the screen. "Let them run. Let them tell their empire what happened here." Bora wiped sweat from her forehead. "Power reserves down to 8%, Captain. That little fight cost us everything. We have maybe 3 more shots from the main cannon, then we're dry." Dehan nodded slowly. They had won this battle, but at a terrible price. The ship was dying around them. Without power, they would freeze to death in a few weeks. Without ammunition, they couldn't defend themselves. A new voice spoke from the doorway. "Captain Kim, permission to enter the bridge?" Dehan turned and saw a man in a first officer's uniform. He looked pale and weak, but his eyes were clear. "Commander Juan Park, you're awake. My pod opened an hour ago." Juan walked slowly to a console and sat down. "I've been checking systems. Captain, we're in bad shape. Life support is failing in 6 sections. The echo drive is damaged. Main engines need repairs we can't do without a shipyard." "I know," Dehan said quietly. "Then you know we're dead." Juan's voice was flat. "We can drift for a few weeks, maybe a month. Then the cold takes us. We should have surrendered. Miri stood up, her face flushed with anger. Surrendered? To the aliens who called us weak? Who dance on Earth's grave? Earth is gone, Lieutenant, Juan said tiredly. Everyone we knew is dead. Our mission is obsolete. What's the point of fighting? The point, Bora said sharply, is that we're still here. My daughter was on Earth, my grandchildren. They're gone, but I'm not. And I'll be damned if I let these aliens forget that humans existed. Dehan looked at his crew. They were broken, grieving, and running on nothing but rage and spite. But they were still fighting. Commander Park, I understand your concerns. But we're not surrendering. We're going to make the Vraxis Empire regret they ever found us. With what? Juan gestured at the damaged bridge. We're one ship. They're an empire. Exactly. Dehan pulled up a star map. They think we're weak because we're alone. They think we'll fight like they do, with big fleets and direct battles. But humans didn't become the dominant species on Earth by being fair fighters. We survived by being smart, adaptable, and absolutely ruthless when necessary. Mugunghwa's hologram appeared. Captain, I have analyzed the Vraxis ships. Their technology is impressive but standardized. They rely on energy shields and plasma weapons. Our kinetic weapons went through their shields like they weren't there. Because kinetic weapons are considered primitive, Bora said, understanding dawning on her face. They don't have defenses against them. Exactly, Dehan said. Our technology is 247 years old by their timeline. But it's technology they've never encountered. We have advantages they don't expect. Mireille pulled up weapons data. The Echo Drive. Captain, if it still works, we can jump without using their gate system. They won't be able to track us. A ghost ship, Juan said slowly. We appear, strike, and vanish. Now you're thinking like a human, Dehan said with a grim smile. Mugunghwa, scan this area. Are there any Vraxis installations nearby? One fuel depot, approximately 4 light-years away. It supplies their border patrol fleet. Then that's our next target. Dehan stood up. Bora, can you get the Echo Drive working? The old engineer cracked her knuckles. Give me 6 hours. I'll get it working if I have to rebuild it with my bare hands. 6 hours later, the Taiguchi made its first Echo Drive jump in 247 years. Reality twisted around the ship, colors shifting in impossible ways, and then they were somewhere else. The Vraxis fuel depot sat in open space, a massive structure designed to refuel dozens of ships at once. Hundreds of workers moved between storage tanks and docking ports. They had no idea what was about to hit them. Captain, we're reading minimal defenses, Mireille reported. 6 guard ships, all light cruisers. They weren't expecting an attack, Juan observed. This far behind their lines, they thought they were safe. They were wrong. Dehan opened a channel to the depot. Attention, Vraxis Fuel Depot. This is the KSNS Taiguchi. Evacuate all personnel immediately. You have 5 minutes. Confusion filled the response channel. The aliens didn't understand what was happening. Then one of them recognized the ship's signature from the earlier battle report. Panic erupted. Captain, the guard ships are moving to intercept, Mireille said. Disable them, Dehan ordered. Don't destroy. We're not murderers. But make sure they can't stop the evacuation. The Taiguchi's weapons spoke again. Precise shots took out the guard ship's engines and weapons, leaving them drifting but intact. The depot's workers fled in every available shuttle, abandoning their station in terror. Depot is empty, Captain, Mugunghwa confirmed. Mirai, target the fuel storage tanks. Bora, prepare for echo jump the moment we fire. The main cannon fired 3 times in rapid succession. Each shot hit a different storage tank. For a moment, nothing happened. Then the tanks exploded in a chain reaction that lit up space like a new sun. The Taiguchi vanished into the Echo Drive just as the shockwave reached them. When reality stabilized, they were light years away, watching the explosion on long-range sensors. 1 fuel depot destroyed, Juan said. That will strand dozens of Vraxis ships without fuel. And they'll have no idea where we'll strike next, Mireille added. Over the next 3 weeks, the Taiguchi became a ghost haunting the Vraxis Empire. They hit supply convoys, destroyed communication relays, and crippled military outposts, always appearing without warning, striking with precision, and vanishing before reinforcements could arrive. The aliens began calling them the Ghost Ship. Fear spread through the Empire's border regions. Patrol captains refused to leave port. Supply ships demanded military escorts. The entire frontier ground to a halt. One night, Dehan found Bora in the engineering bay. She was working on the Echo Drive, her old hands moving with practiced skill. "Captain," she said without looking up. "Can't sleep?" "Too much to think about." He sat down on a tool crate. "Are you doing okay, Bora?" She stopped working and looked at him. Her eyes were wet. "I keep thinking about my daughter. She would have been old now. Maybe she had great-grandchildren. Maybe they're alive somewhere." She wiped her face. "Or maybe they're all gone, and we're the last ones who remember." "I'm sorry," Dehan said softly. "Don't be." Bora's voice hardened. "Every alien ship we destroy, every station we cripple, it's payback. For Earth, for everyone we lost. They wanted us to be extinct? We'll make them regret we ever existed at all." On the bridge, Mirai was teaching Juan how to properly target the weapon systems. The first officer had stopped talking about surrender. Now he planned attacks with the same precision he once used for peaceful patrols. Then Mugunghwa detected something that changed everything. "Captain, I am intercepting a Vraxis military transmission. It is marked priority level 1. Let me hear it," Dehan ordered. The voice was different from the aliens they had fought before. Deeper, more controlled. "All ships, all stations. This is Grand Admiral Thasix. The human vessel has been designated threat level extinction. I'm assembling Battlefleet Omega, 80 warships strong. We will hunt this ghost until it bleeds. The Taguki dies, or we do. That is my oath." Silence filled the bridge. 80 warships. The entire crew knew what that meant. "Well," Juan said quietly, "we wanted their attention." "We got it." Dehan smiled, and it was not a nice smile. "Good, let them come. We have 247 years of rage to return, with interest." Captain Dehan Kim opened his eyes to darkness. His body felt wrong, like ice had replaced his blood. The cryopod around him hissed and cracked as ancient seals broke apart. Red emergency lights flickered on, painting everything the color of blood. He pushed the pod door open and fell onto the metal floor. His muscles screamed. How long had he been asleep? The last thing he remembered was the ship shaking, alarms screaming, and then the emergency cryosleep activation. Dehan forced himself to stand. The cryobay looked like a tomb. Dozens of pods lined the walls, but most of their lights were dark. Dead. He walked to the nearest pod and wiped frost from its window. Inside, a frozen face stared back at him, peaceful and forever silent. His crew, his friends, gone. A voice crackled through the speakers, weak and distorted. "Captain Kim, you are awake." "This is good, Mugunghwa?" Dehan recognized the ship's AI. "What happened?" "Where are we?" "Please come to the bridge, Captain. There is much to explain." The walk through the ship was a nightmare. Corridors were dark and cold. Frost covered the walls. Some sections had no air, their doors sealed and marked with red warning signs. The KSNS Taguki, once humanity's most advanced warship, now looked like a graveyard floating in space. The bridge doors opened with a grinding sound. Inside, 2 other people waited. A young woman in a weapons officer uniform sat at a console, her face wet with tears. An older woman in engineering colors worked frantically at a damaged panel, her hands shaking. "Captain on deck," the young woman said quietly. She tried to salute, but her hand trembled too much. "Lieutenant Mirai Choi," Dehan said, remembering her. "Chief Engineer Bora Han, you both survived." "Only us," Bora said without looking up. 53 crew members. 3 survivors. The rest died in their pods when the power failed. Dehan sat in the captain's chair. It felt too heavy, like the weight of all those dead crew members pressed down on him. Mugunghwa report. What happened to us? The main screen flickered to life. A hologram of the AI appeared, a simple blue sphere of light. We were caught in a quantum anomaly during our patrol mission. Time moved differently inside the field. For us, it has been 3 weeks. Outside, 247 years have passed. The words hit like a physical blow. Mirai made a choking sound. Bora stopped working, her hands frozen in place. "That's impossible," Dehan whispered. "I wish it were, Captain. But I have been monitoring communications for 2 centuries. I have terrible news." The AI paused. "Earth is silent. All human colonies are silent. 50 years after we disappeared, something called the Great Collapse happened. All communication from Earth stopped. The galaxy believes humanity is extinct." Mirai stood up suddenly, knocking over her chair. No, that's not possible. "Earth can't be gone. My family, everyone." Bora put a hand on the young woman's shoulder. The old engineer's face was hard as stone, but her eyes were wet. "We are orphans now, child. The last humans who remember Earth as it was." Daehan forced himself to think past the grief that threatened to drown him. Ship status? Mugunghwa displayed numbers on the screen. Power reserves at 23%. Life support functional for approximately 60 days. Weapon systems damaged but repairable. Main engines offline. Echo drive functional but untested after the anomaly. "So we're a dead ship floating in space," Mirai said bitterly. "Everyone we knew is gone." "Earth is gone. What's the point?" "The point," Daehan said firmly, "is that we're still alive. This ship is still alive, and until we're not, we keep going." An alarm suddenly blared through the bridge. Mugunghwa's hologram turned red. "Captain, sensors detect multiple ships approaching. 12 vessels. Unknown configuration. They are hailing us." "Put it on screen," Daehan ordered. The screen showed something that wasn't human. The creature had gray skin, 4 eyes, and a mouthful of sharp teeth. When it spoke, the translator worked, but the words were cruel. "Attention, derelict vessel. This is Commander Thex of the Vraxis Empire. Your ship is in Imperial space. You will surrender immediately, or we will destroy you. Respond." Mirai checked her console. "Captain, they're small patrol ships but heavily armed. We're in no condition to fight 12 of them." Daehan opened a channel. "This is Captain Daehan Kim of the Korean Space Navy ship Taegukgi. We are not in your space. This is Terran defense perimeter established by Earth treaties." The alien laughed, a horrible sound. "Earth? The failed species that destroyed itself? There is no Terran defense perimeter. There hasn't been for 200 years. You are relics from a dead civilization. Surrender your technology and we will give you quick deaths. Refuse, and we will take it from your corpses." Something cold settled in Daehan's chest. Not fear, something harder, colder. "You think humanity is dead?" "We know it," the alien sneered. "Your kind was weak. The galaxy is better without you." Daehan looked at his 2 remaining crew members. Mirai's tears had stopped. Her face was hard now, angry. Bora had moved to the weapons console, her old hands steady as she brought systems online. They had lost everything. Home, family, their entire world erased while they slept. These aliens danced on humanity's grave, calling them weak, treating them like trash to be thrown away. No, Daehan stood up from his chair. "Mirai, charge the main cannon. Bora, divert all available power to weapons and shields." "Captain?" Mirai asked. "We didn't survive 247 years just to surrender to creatures who mock our dead." He opened the channel again. "Commander Thex, you're right about one thing. Humanity is gone. Earth is silent, but you made one mistake." "What mistake, human?" "You assumed that made us weak." Daehan's voice was ice. "Mugunghwa, target the lead ship. Mirai, fire when ready." The Taegukgi's main cannon had been experimental when it was built, decades ahead of its time. It used magnetic rails to launch projectiles at a fraction of light speed. A weapon so powerful that most species had abandoned kinetic weapons as impractical. The alien empire had never seen one. The cannon fired. A rod of dense metal shot across space faster than the alien sensors could track. It hit the lead Vraxis ship and went straight through, punching a hole through the hull, through the reactor, and out the other side. The ship exploded in a ball of white fire. Silence filled the Vraxis channel. Then chaos as the aliens screamed orders to each other. "Target the next ship," Daehan ordered calmly. "Fire again." Another alien ship died. Daehan opened the channel one last time. His voice was quiet but clear. Every word was a promise. "This is the KSNS Taegukgi. We are the last warship of Earth. You thought humanity was extinct. You were wrong. And now you will learn why the galaxy should have feared us while we still had mercy to offer." He cut the channel. "All weapons, full attack. Show them what humans do when we have nothing left to lose." The Taegukgi, broken and half dead, came alive with rage. Its weapons lit up the darkness as it began to tear through the alien squadron. In that moment, the galaxy learned a truth it had forgotten. Humanity remembers, and humanity does not forgive. The message from the Helians came 3 days after the battle. It was encrypted, sent through channels the Vraxis couldn't monitor. "Captain Kim, this is Elder Torin of the Helian Coalition. We owe you a debt we can never repay, but perhaps we can help you. We have information about a place called New Sol. It was a human colony destroyed by the Vraxis 200 years ago. But before they died, the colonists hid emergency supplies in underground bunkers. The Empire never found them. The coordinates are attached." Daehan stared at the message for a long time. New Seoul, a Korean colony built by people who had left Earth centuries ago, carrying their culture across the stars, now dead for 200 years. We should go, a voice said behind him. Dr. Nari Song, the ship's medical officer, had finally woken from cryo-sleep. She looked fragile, her body still recovering, but her eyes were sharp. If there are supplies there, we need them. We're running on empty. It's a graveyard, Daehan said quietly. Our people died there. Then we owe it to them to see what they left behind. Nari sat down carefully. Captain, I've been reading the medical logs. Half our crew died in cryo-sleep. The survivors are exhausted, injured, and running on rage alone. If we don't resupply soon, we'll die from our own wounds before the Vraxes finish us. She was right. Daehan knew she was right. He called the crew together and showed them the message. The vote was unanimous. They would go to New Seoul. The planet appeared on their screens like a corpse. Once it had been beautiful. Green forests, blue oceans, cities built in the architectural style of ancient Korea mixed with advanced technology. Now it was gray and silent. The cities were ruins, overgrown with alien plants. The orbital stations were shattered debris. They landed near what had been the capital city. The silence was terrible. No birds sang. No wind blew through the empty streets. Just death and memory. Daehan led a team through the ruins. Mirai and Juan walked beside him, weapons ready. Bora came too, despite her age and exhaustion. She insisted. Cumin stayed on the ship, monitoring for Vraxis patrols. They walked past schools where Korean children had once learned. Past markets where families had shopped. Past homes where people had lived and loved and dreamed of a future that never came. Mirai found it in what had been a playground. A child's drawing, protected by some accident of preservation under a collapsed wall. It showed Earth with Korean words written in a child's careful handwriting. I miss home. I want to see Grandma again. The young woman picked up the drawing with shaking hands. Tears ran down her face. They were just kids. They just wanted to go home. Juan put a hand on her shoulder. His own face was wet. They never made it. But we're here now. We'll remember them. The bunker was exactly where the Helians said it would be, hidden beneath an old temple. The doors were sealed with technology the Vraxis had never cracked. But it recognized Daehan's uniform codes. The ancient mechanisms groaned to life and the doors opened. Inside was a treasure. Medical supplies, food rations that were still good in stasis, spare parts for ship systems, and weapons. The colonists of New Seoul had been preparing for the Vraxis to return, building defenses with technology they had developed in isolation from Earth. Bora whistled low as she examined the weapons crates. Captain, these are experimental systems. Directed energy weapons, advanced missiles, even schematics for shield upgrades. If I can install these on the Taegukgi, we'll have bite to match our bark. But the most important discovery was at the back of the bunker. A quantum communications array, still sealed and functional. Cumin worked for hours to activate it, his fingers flying over ancient controls. Got it, he finally said. This thing can send messages using quantum entanglement. No light speed delay. If Earth still exists, if anyone is listening, they'll hear us instantly. Daehan sat down in front of the communicator. What do you say to a world that might not exist? To people who might all be dead? He took a breath and began to record. This is Captain Daehan Kim of the Korean Space Navy ship Taegukgi. We are 247 years displaced due to a quantum anomaly. We were lost outside known space. We returned to find Earth silent and humanity declared extinct by the galaxy. We do not know if anyone is listening. We do not know if Earth survived. But if you are there, if any humans hear this, know that we are still fighting. We are still alive, and we need you. He included their coordinates, their situation, everything. Then he sent the message toward Earth and waited. Nothing came back. The communicator sat silent. It will take time, Cumin said gently. Even with quantum entanglement, establishing a connection takes time if Earth's receivers are dormant. If they're there, they'll hear us eventually. They spent 3 days on New Seoul. Bora and her team worked around the clock installing the new weapons systems on the Taegukgi. The ship slowly transformed from a dying relic into something more dangerous. Dr. Nari Song performed a ceremony on the 3rd day. She had found the colony's memorial wall, listing the names of everyone who had died when the Vraxis attacked. Thousands of names, Korean names, families erased from history. The crew stood before the wall in silence, Nari spoke in Korean, the old language that felt right for this place. We cannot bring you back. We cannot undo what was done. But we promise you this. Your deaths will not be forgotten. Your sacrifice will not be wasted. We will make the ones who did this pay for every name on this wall. They each left something at the memorial. Mireille left the child's drawing. Juan left his service medal. Bora left a small photo of her daughter that she had carried through the cryosleep. Dehan left his captain's bars. We're not the crew that left Earth, he said quietly. We're something new now. Born from grief and rage, we don't need ranks anymore. We're just survivors fighting for the dead. On the way back to the ship, Mugunghwa alerted them to a Vraxis communication they had intercepted. It was marked with the highest priority level. Attention all fleets. This is Emperor Vexthor himself. The human vessel has made fools of us for too long. I am assembling the Grand Armada. 300 warships. We will hunt the Taiguchi to the end of the galaxy. This is not a military operation. This is extermination. The humans wanted us to remember they existed. We will remember them as the species we erased completely. 300 ships. The number was impossible. Even with their new weapons, the Taiguchi couldn't fight that many. We should run, Juan said, but his voice lacked conviction. Find deep space. Hide until they give up. They won't give up, Mireille said. Not now. We've made this personal for their emperor. So we have two choices, Bora said. Die running and hiding, forgotten by everyone. Or make a stand that the galaxy will never forget. Dehan looked at his crew. They were exhausted, wounded, and faced with impossible odds. But they had also just stood before a wall of dead humans and made a promise. We vote, he said. Everyone gets a say. Run or fight. Whatever we choose together. They voted. Every single person, from Dehan to the youngest crew member, chose the same thing. They would fight. Then we need a battlefield, Dehan said. Somewhere that negates their numbers. Mugunghwa, scan for locations where we can make them hurt. The AI worked for hours before finding it. The Nomura Nebula, dense gas clouds that will interfere with their sensors and communications. They will not be able to coordinate effectively. It is 3 light years from here. How long do we have before the Armada arrives? Nari asked. 7 days based on their fleet speed. 7 days to prepare for the fight of our lives, Cumin said. He was pale but determined. They spent those 7 days turning the Nomura Nebula into a death trap. Using salvage technology from New Sol, they planted automated weapons platforms throughout the gas clouds. They seeded the area with mines that would drift silently until enemy ships got close. They set up false sensor readings to confuse and mislead. On the 7th day, the Vraxis Grand Armada arrived. 300 warships, the largest fleet ever assembled. At their head was a super dreadnought, 5 times larger than any other ship, bristling with weapons. The Emperor himself was aboard. The Taiguchi sat alone in the middle of the nebula, waiting. 1 ship against 300. Dehan activated the open channel. His voice was calm, steady, and absolutely certain. This is the KSNS Taiguchi to the Vraxis Grand Armada. We are the last warship of humanity. We have no home, no fleet, no hope of victory. But we have something you will never understand. We fight not for ourselves, but for the memory of everyone you killed. Every human colony you destroyed. Every child you murdered. Every dream you erased. He paused, letting the words echo across the void. You wanted to erase us from history. Instead, you made us immortal. Come and face us. Come and learn why even dead humanity is something you should fear. The Armada entered the nebula. The Taiguchi disappeared into the clouds, and the final battle began. The Taiguchi appeared from the gas clouds like a ghost, fired a devastating volley that destroyed 3 ships, and vanished before the Vraxis could respond. Their automated weapons platforms activated throughout the nebula, adding to the confusion. Mines drifted into formations, detonating with terrible effect. But 300 ships was too many. For every vessel the humans destroyed, 20 more advanced. The nebula that protected the Taiguchi also limited how many ships could engage at once. But the Empire had patience. They would grind the humans down through sheer numbers. On the bridge, Mireille's console was covered in targets. She fired, reloaded, and fired again, her movements mechanical with exhaustion. 23 ships destroyed, Captain. We've barely dented them. Keep firing, Dehan ordered. His uniform was torn, blood seeping from a cut on his forehead where debris had hit him. Make every shot count. Bora's voice crackled through the comm from engineering. Captain, we're burning out. Engines are overheating. Weapons are firing beyond safe limits. We can't keep this pace much longer. How long do we have? Maybe 3 more hours. Then something critical fails. 3 hours. Dahan looked at the tactical display. In 3 hours, they might destroy 50 ships. Maybe 70 if luck was with them. Still not enough. The second hour was worse. The Vraxis adapted to their tactics, spreading out, being more cautious. The automated platforms ran out of ammunition. The mines were depleted. Now it was just the Taguki against the Armada. No tricks left. An explosion rocked the ship. Half the lights went out. Juan's console sparked and died. Hull breach in sections 4 through 7. We've lost life support on 2 decks. Dr. Narisong appeared on screen from medical bay. Her face was covered in blood, but she kept working. Captain, I have 12 wounded down here. I'm doing what I can, but we're out of medical supplies. Do your best, Doctor. Another impact. Cumin's station exploded, throwing him across the bridge. He didn't get up. Nari rushed to the bridge, checking his pulse, shaking her head. The young man who had dreamed of contacting Earth was gone. 58 ships destroyed. 242 remaining. The third hour was hell. Bora's voice came through the comm, weak and fading. Captain, engine core is failing. I've rerouted everything I can. Maybe 30 more minutes. That's all I can give you. Bora, get out of engineering. That section is too dangerous. I can't, Captain. Someone needs to hold this together. Besides, she coughed, a wet sound. I'm too old to run. I'll die at my post, like a proper engineer should. A massive explosion shook the ship. The feed from engineering went dead. Bora was gone. Dahan felt something break inside him. Not despair. Something colder. He stood up from his chair and looked at his remaining crew. Mirai, still firing despite tears running down her face. Juan working a broken console with bloody hands. Nari treating wounded with supplies that didn't exist. This is it, he said quietly. We're not making it out of here. So let's make it count. Full power to weapons. Forget the shields. Forget life support. Everything into the guns. We're going to take as many of them with us as we can. Mirai looked at him and nodded. Weapons ready, Captain. The Taguki charged directly at the super dreadnought where Emperor Vexthor commanded the Armada. No more hit-and-run tactics. No more hiding. Just straight-line revenge. Vraxis ships swarmed them. Energy weapons tore through the hull. Explosions ripped apart sections of the ship. But the Taguki kept coming, firing until its weapons melted, until its power failed, until there was nothing left but momentum. Then, impossibly, the quantum communicator activated, the one Cumin had fixed at New Sol. A signal came through, not a response to their message. Something else. An automated beacon broadcasting continuously. The words appeared on Mugungwa's flickering screen. To all human vessels lost beyond the collapse event, Earth survives. Humanity endures. We are rebuilding. We will find you. Do not give up hope. Coordinates follow for Rally Point Sanctuary. You are not forgotten. You are not alone. Dahan stared at the message. Earth. Alive. Humanity survived. They weren't the last humans after all. They were just the first to come home. Mugungwa, he said, his voice shaking, broadcast that message. Every frequency. Every channel. Let the whole galaxy hear it. Let them know humanity is coming back. The AI obeyed. The message went out across the stars. Every species, every empire, every ship within light years heard it. Earth survived. Humanity endured. The Vraxis fleet hesitated. Just for a moment. But a moment was enough. Dahan looked at his crew one last time. Mirai, do you remember what I taught you about the Gate Ripper weapon? Yes, sir. It collapses artificial wormholes. What if we fire it at the Super Dreadnought's reactor core? The reactor uses the same technology as jump gates. Contained artificial wormholes for power generation. Understanding dawned on Mirai's face. It would create a cascade failure. An artificial black hole. Taking out everything around it, Juan finished. Including us. Including us, Dahan agreed. But also maybe 100 Vraxis ships. Including their emperor. It's a final blow that will cripple their empire. He looked at each of them. I'm ordering you to abandon ship. Get to the escape pods. Use the coordinates from Earth's message. Find our people. Tell them what we did here. Mirai stood up. Permission to refuse, sir. Denied. That's an order, Lieutenant. With respect, Captain, we're not a military crew anymore. You said so yourself. We're just survivors, and survivors stick together. She sat back down at her console. I'm staying. Me too, Juan said. We started this together. We end it together. Nari nodded. I didn't survive 247 years just to run at the end. Dehan wanted to argue, wanted to order them away, but he knew it was pointless. They had made their choice. Then let's finish this, he said quietly. Mugunghwa, transmit all your records to Earth, everything, every battle, every moment. Make sure they know what happened here. Transmission complete, Captain, the AI said. It has been my honor to serve with you, all of you. The honor was ours, Dehan replied. Mirai, target the Super Dreadnought's reactor. Fire when ready. The Gate Ripper weapon charged one last time. The Taguki, broken and dying, gathered its final breath. Mirai's finger hovered over the firing control. For Earth, she whispered. For humanity, Juan added. For everyone we lost, Nari said. Dehan closed his eyes. Fire, the weapon fired. Reality screamed. The Super Dreadnought's reactor core collapsed into an artificial singularity. Space twisted in ways it was never meant to bend. The black hole expanded, consuming everything within its reach. The Taguki was caught in the gravitational pull. The ship began to break apart, pulled toward the impossible darkness. But the crew didn't scream. They didn't panic. They just held on to each other as the end came. And then there was light. 6 months later, human ships arrived at the Nomura Nebula. Earth's rescue fleet following the quantum signal. They found only debris and radiation. The Taguki was gone, but they found Mugunghwa's transmission. Every moment of the ship's war recorded and sent home. The crew's words, their sacrifice, their refusal to surrender even when facing extinction. They also found what remained of the Vraxis Grand Armada. 103 ships had been destroyed in the final explosion. The Emperor was dead. The Empire's military power was shattered. The balance of power in the galaxy had shifted forever. Earth built a monument at the battle site. A simple thing, made of the metal salvage from the Taguki's debris. It showed a single ship standing alone against impossible odds. The inscription was in Korean and 40 other languages. Here fell the KSNS Taguki and her crew, forgotten by Earth for 247 years, but never forgotten by history. They fought not for victory but for memory. They died so that humanity would be remembered. Their names: Captain Daehan Kim, Lieutenant Mirai Choi, Chief Engineer Bora Han, Commander Hwan Park, Dr. Nari Song, Communications Officer Kumin Seo, and the AI Mugunghwa. They are the reason the galaxy fears us. They are the reason no one will ever forget humanity again. The Helian Coalition declared the crew heroes of their people. They had saved the colony ship and shown the galaxy that resistance was possible. Other species began to rebel against the Vraxis. The Empire crumbled over the following years, torn apart by wars it could no longer fight. And Earth? Earth remembered. A new ship was commissioned. The KSNS Taguki II, larger, more powerful, built with the best technology humanity could create. But on its hull, in letters that could be seen from orbit, were the words, "Humanity remembers." The captain of the new Taguki stood on the bridge during the launch ceremony. She looked young, but her eyes were old. She was the great-great-granddaughter of someone from New Seoul, someone who had died when the Vraxis attacked. She carried their memory, just as the original Taguki had carried the memory of Earth. "Captain," her first officer said. "Course heading?" She smiled. It was not a kind smile. "Take us to the frontier. Let's remind the galaxy why they learned to fear us. The Taguki fell, but we rise. That's what humanity does. We fall, and we rise. And we never, ever give up." The ship jumped into the stars, carrying with it the legacy of 3 crew members who had refused to die quietly, who had fought an empire with nothing but rage and hope, who had been forgotten by Earth but would be feared by all.